Hi, I'm here today to talk to you about Amazon Luna. Hey, come back! Just the controller, not the cloud gaming platform. You start talking about cloud gaming services, people start running for the hills like you're peddling snake oil. I will make a separate video about the Amazon Luna cloud gaming platform. This is not that video. We're focusing strictly on the controller. With a USB-C port on top, you can plug it into a PC. It's also got Bluetooth. You can connect it to a mobile phone, maybe a tablet. Let's take a look at this plum purple plastic princess and find out if it's a good gamepad or not. For $40, that is. This is a budget or entry-level controller. Let's get it.
This is your controller captain. We've reached 6,900 feet. Go ahead and start flicking the sticks and mollywopping the back paddles.
You don't like back paddles? How about those rear buttons?
We've tested almost 100 custom and premium controllers, and we're only at the beginning. You need a thumbstick guide or tutorial on how to overclock your controller?
Check out the controller playlist.
Bing bong.
Controller captain out.
A quick disclaimer for my audience, the Stallions and Stallionettes. This controller was sent for review, but this is going to be an honest, comprehensive review. I haven't been paid or told to say anything about it, so if there's any cons, shortcomings, or areas of improvement, you're going to hear about it, so these companies can make better products over time. Packaging is what you would expect from a $40 controller, not just from Amazon, because, well, we've never seen a controller from them before, but from any third-party controller manufacturer in this price segment, such as PDP, PowerA, and Logitech. You've got some basic cardboard holding your controller in place, no laser cut foam or anything, and then you will have a pair of AA batteries to fuel this controller. I also thought that was interesting that the batteries themselves are Amazon Basics brand. You will also have one piece of documentation which opens up like an accordion, not a huge fan of that, but in order to make customization or tweaks of your controller, you are going to need the Amazon Luna controller app, which you can get by scanning the QR code in the manual or typing in Luna into your local Google Play or App Store. Manufacturer's weight and dimensions are going to be popping up somewhere in front of my face around this general vicinity. However, that's just numbers, statistics. However, the actual comfort or ergonomics, it looks very similar to the licensed shell design of the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. However, it does have these sculpted haunches in the back for you to wrap your fingers around, kind of cutouts or grooves, if you will, with this ribbed texture design on the back. It feels very good, especially for a controller in this price point. The only thing I don't like is that sound. Let's listen to this. Ooh, that's not confidence-inducing at all. That doesn't scream build quality. Everything else feels pretty good in the hand. Ergonomics and comfort, 4 out of 5. I'm getting a ton of creaks and moans and groans in the plastics whenever I do the flex or stress test. Probably shouldn't have made that noise while the controller was making that squeak. Definitely does sound like a Motel 6 mattress, that's for sure. Also massive panel gaps where the front faceplate and rear shell meet, but awkwardly enough, the plastics that they went with, the surface material that your hands are making contact with, actually doesn't feel that bad. Kind of balancing everything out and putting build quality at 3 out of 5. As for a quality control reputation, there is not a positive or negative one for these controllers. I don't really know of too many gamers personally that are using these controllers to game on PC or that are using the Amazon Luna cloud streaming service, but God forbid anything does go wrong with your gamepad, you do have a 1-year limited warranty, as well as an optional 1, 2, or 3-year extended warranty package available only to US customers, sold separately. Personally, for a $40 controller, I do believe the 1-year warranty will suffice. I'm not going to pay for an additional warranty on a $40 gamepad that has a chance of not even getting the warranty honored in the first place. I'm going to give the non-existent quality control reputation as well as the acceptable warranty a 3 out of 5. D-pad or direction button feels pretty squishy and mushy as it is a membrane design. There is a rubber plunger mechanism underneath this front faceplate. However, it does have 4 distinct steps, but roll-offs are kind of a beast because it has a weird pivot point in the center. But this would be serviceable for fighting games. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Sidebar, cosmetically, it does look very cheap as it is piano black, and it looks like it was grabbed right from a parts bin special. But that's just appearance-wise. It actually feels okay, so 3 out of 5 there. As for the face or action buttons, I was actually pleasantly surprised. They're spaced out decently. I wish they were a little bit larger, but they do have a nice tactile click despite the fact they are still a membrane switch. They're also raised pretty far out of the front faceplate, and cosmetically they look decent. They went with a gloss gray with a light gray lettering. And I do think the face or action buttons are one of the strong features of this controller. I'm going to give them a 4.5 out of 5. As for the accessory buttons, so that's going to be this oversized Amazon Luna button, dead center, as well as these 3 niblets, the mic mute button, pause and options, or this is actually called the action button because once you press it, it's time to get down to action. Actually, this takes you out of the action. It usually plops you into a menu or a map or something. These are in a good place where you can quickly hit them if you need to pause your game. They're raised far enough out of the front shell. I also do think the little purple ring that rotates around the home button's kind of cool looking. I'm going to to give the accessory button suite a 4 out of 5. You want a new camera angle? Because I'm just aching to move around some camera equipment. As for the thumbsticks, analog sticks, joysticks, whatever you want to call them, they're decent, serviceable for sure. They are very short, as this is a stock or standard controller, but the rubber or silicone compound they use is actually pretty grippy and also pretty comfortable as well. It's a little bit slick in the center, however it does have a ribbed or bumpy design around the outside, and cosmetically I actually do like this plum purple around the thumbstick bases. Now I've got a couple of baggies here. You don't have to pay me now or pay me later. This is going to be free of charge. I've got some universal slip over caps. These will work with anything because they are indeed universal. They just slip over the thumbsticks. Then you've got these plastic snap-on caps from licensed manufacturer Control Freaks. We know all about them. And then we've got these Scuf universal caps that are all the rage. All the kids are talking about them. I reviewed them on the channel here recently. That video's most likely linked in the description below. I'll probably forget, but if I don't, it is down there. Let's see what works here. These ones look like a grilled hamburger patty are licensed Xbox Series caps. Xbox One and Series, same. I have no fear of breaking a $40 controller, or any controller for that matter, get on there. But I don't want to if I don't have to, especially if it's sent for review. These don't work, they're too tight, too taut. These white ones are white Galaxies for use on PlayStation 4 and 5, as they do use the same thumbstick caps on the PS4 DualShock and the PS5 DualSense. Just transferred them right on over. And these red ones over here are licensed Nintendo Switch caps. None of these are deemed workable, and I would say no to all of these. What about these Scuf caps? These universals. They have the word universal in the name, so I'm hopeful they would work. So they do snap on, but they're pretty loose and wiggly and do rotate freely. Let's try the other one, because there are two different rings or dishes that do come with the kit. Oh, and this one's even looser and wigglier. No, I think your best bet is going to be going with these universal slip-over caps. These are going to be linked in the description below. Over here in one of the sweetest assets in the arsenal, Gamepad tester. I just lost 3 eyelashes because of the brightness of my monitor. We're going to engage a dark theme. As I move the left and right analog sticks to and fro on their vertical and horizontal axis, and then I stop, they all snap back to 0.00002. I might have thrown in an extra 0, free of charge. For potentiometer thumbsticks, these are calibrated very well. Keep in mind the long-term reliability simply isn't going to be there, but it's only a $40 controller you're disposing, not a $250 Pro controller, so that's great. Now, one interesting note, there are some very measurable dead zones where I'm moving the thumbstick and nothing is being registered until right about this point here. As you see, it's spazzing out sporadically if I feather it right here in this dead zone. But as you see, I can't just barely move that dot outside of the crosshairs. It just jumps out quite substantially. Pretty big dead zones right out of the gate. Let's measure the circularity and get the average error rate. Pretty on par with the Alps potentiometer thumbstick modules that are inside most Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo controllers, but we'll run a couple more for safe measure. Go counterclockwise this time. A little bit slower as well. Really fill out that radial wheel. So you would have no out-of-the-box stick drift, no adverse aiming, no areas where your inputs aren't registered other than down left on the left analog stick. I'm a little bit worried about all this red over here, but I wouldn't write your mother a letter about it or anything. It's not that serious. These thumbsticks are very short, have no anti-friction rings around the outside of the thumbstick gates, but does have decent results during my technical analysis, if you want to call it that. We're not in a laboratory or anything. The gamer heaven's much more scientifically advanced than any laboratory. I'm going to give the thumbsticks a 3 out of 5. As for the bumpers, they're actually in a good ergonomic position. I can hit them on the sides, I can hit them on the top, although they are in a bit of a swivel mechanism, or a hinge, I should say, and they are easier to hit anywhere except here. Right here. I have absolutely no complaints with the bumpers. They're tactile, they're clicky, but yet pretty silent. Gonna give them a 4 out of 5. Moving right on down to the triggers, they do have a nice resistance, a little bit less travel than I'd like to see if you're using this for something like racing games and you want to be able to modulate the throttle and brake. These are aggressively pointed, kind of like a chick's nails, ready to gouge your eyes out at the club. They're a little bit aggressive, not the chicks at the club, but these triggers here, so you kind of want to hold them here and not here. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but these are really good. I like the resistance on them. 4 out of 5. Around this part in the video, we'd move on to rear buttons or back paddles. However, this is not a Pro controller, so we can skip on. But I do want to say, while we are looking at the tuchus, or the rear end of this controller, I actually do like that little stippling, that texture on the back. Very comfortable. We're going to measure the out-of-the-box refresh rate or polling rate, which will give us our out-of-the-box input lag or delay, or delag if you've been around the channel a while. Seeing a lot of 3s, some 5s in there as well. Holy, that's not good. Okay, that's a lot more realistic. That's much more accurate, thank you. So the stock polling rate is 125 hertz, which is going to give you around 8 milliseconds of input lag or delay. We're actually getting a little bit more, around the 8.8 range. We're going to run one more test here. Also not the most consistent thing with a minimum minimum of 3.3 and a maximum of God knows what, stretching to the stratosphere here. Also 2 milliseconds of jitter. That's not what we like to see. I'll run one more, but I'm not going to gnaw off the skin on my palm here running this test. Okay, even higher this time with a 9.6 at a spread like you haven't seen since Thanksgiving. Now, a stock polling rate of 125 hertz is nothing outlandish. It's nothing out of the ordinary. That should net you about 8 milliseconds of input lag or delay. However, this is a little bit slower actually and less consistent. These are the most sporadic results I've seen in X input test. I've tested wireless controllers with more rock steady connection. Because of that, I'm giving stock input lag or delay a 1 out of 5. Let's see if she's susceptible to being overclocked. I don't think so. I think it's polling rate locked, but we'll see. Launching the Lord of Mice overclocking software, you have to go through so many subfolders to get the dang thing open. Now, if we expand the child name, I don't know why they call it that, but that's the name of your devices. It is actually labeled as an Amazon Luna controller. Whoop, just change names and give us a little bit more data or information. But as you can see, this controller is not being filtered, meaning it's not overclocked. It's on its stock clock, if you will, which is going to give you an estimated 5 to 8 milliseconds of input lag or delay. Correct. We were seeing about 8, actually in the 9s, but 8 is on paper what she should be getting. Let's overclock it. Install service. You already know it. Default, not a chance. 1000. Install service. Open that bad boy. Filter on device. Check the box. Tick it. Click it and stick it. Install service. Click open. If you have no idea what I'm doing as I'm saying these words sporadically, I do have an overclocking guide linked in the description below where I actually take you step by step with what I'm doing to overclock controllers on PC. The final step here is going to be to unplug her, untether her from this wired life, and then replug it into the USB-C suck hole. And now, as you can see, yes, it is overclocked, or filtered as they like to call it, with a 1000 hertz polling rate on board, flashed to the chip, if you will. It's not really flashed to the memory. It's actually all handled on the PC because there is no memory on the controller. But the point being, it's overclocked now. But let's measure the results to see if it actually took effect and did anything for us. I don't think it will because the controller's probably polling rate locked. Okay, butter my bun sideways. I think it did something. Nope, it didn't. No, not really, no. Okay, so this is poll number 3, and we're actually getting some decent results here. Minimum and maximum is a little bit tighter, but still sloppy toppy. Jitter is substantially lower at 0.1. Yes, the average is a 6.2. Polling rate's a 160, so that would still be an estimated 125 hertz. So about the same final results. However, if you manually scroll up here, I am seeing a lot more 4s than initially when we ran the test stock, where I was seeing mostly 5s, even some 6s and 7s. Meaning that if you manually analyze the data here, I'll throw on my lab coat and grab my beaker for you. It does seem to be a little bit more consistent, but still not enough to where an overclock is going to change the game for you. I'm going to give Overclocked Performance a 4 out of 5. Now, to connect your Luna controller via Bluetooth 5.0, you are going to need to power on the controller. In order to do that, of course, you are going to need 2 AA controllers in the back flap here, or the battery tray, I should say. You might have thought I misspoke there and meant 2 batteries in the back. No, you actually need to shove 2 controllers that you have laying around your house into the back of this controller as sacrifices to fuel the Luna. Obviously, I misspoke. You need 2 AA batteries in the back of the controller, which should be no issue because the controller does ship with 2 Amazon Basic batteries. Power on the controller by holding this massive Amazon Luna button. And this is not currently in Bluetooth pairing mode. This is just waiting for a connection with an Amazon Luna device. To put the controller into Bluetooth pairing mode, you are going to hold down B, simultaneously holding down this little circle or action button as they call it. Now that white light in the center will begin to pulsate white, letting you know that you are in Bluetooth pairing mode. Under Windows 10 or 11 PC in the bottom right, you'll see a little icon for Bluetooth devices. If you don't, press the Windows key on your keyboard and type in BL and Bluetooth will pop right up. Add a device, Bluetooth, Luna Gamepad. Try connecting your device again. Sure thing, we'll do it. Sure, we'll keep trying it over and over until it connects. Awesome. Yeah, so that's normal that you have to sporadically click until it remembers that it is a controller, and it does have Bluetooth, and it does want to be connected to your PC. It does now know that that's the life it wants to live, and it is connected. Excuse me. And now that light has gone solid white to let you know that it is solid, the connection that you have with your PC. Let's run some tests to see if that's true or not. We are not recognized by X Input Test as an Xbox 360 controller, but I'm going to go ahead and launch Rewaz and see if we can spoof the PC. Should be no issue. This is standard issue stuff for gamer heaven. Oh, golly. Oh, boy. Of course, DS4 Windows wouldn't like you. You're not a PlayStation controller. I'm an idiot. You didn't really want the Bluetooth results anyway, did you? Good, because I can't deliver that to you. Start with the cons, because there really isn't that many of them, especially in this price point. The input lag or delay is a little bit sluggish for what I like to see, especially if you're playing wired to the PC. And if you are a psychopath and decide to overclock your controller, that doesn't really have much effect either. The second and last real complaint I have is the fact that there's no real compatibility for thumbstick caps, such as Control Freaks or the new Scuf universal caps. Pretty much nothing that I tried to snap on these bad boys fit correctly. They were either too loose and wiggly or were literally damaging, eating away at the thumbsticks as I snapped them on. Since they are pretty short and not the grippiest things in the world, you're probably going to want to upgrade with some snap-on caps, and you're very limited. You're going to have to go with the universal slipovers. Now onto the pros. The fact that this does use disposables, but it does include the disposables. Plus, you could always get a little recharge pack for it as well. You have the versatility like you have with Xbox controllers. You can go disposable or rechargeable. I actually do like that. Next up, this controller is pretty goddamn versatile. It has USB-C connection as well as Bluetooth 5.0, meaning you can use it with a cell phone, tablet, or any Amazon Luna device, such as the Amazon Fire Stick, etc. Next up, this controller is actually very comfortable. Feels great in the hand between that rib texture on the back and those little cutouts or grooves for your fingers. Next up, well, the D-pad really didn't blow my socks off. The face or action buttons actually did feel pretty good, especially for a gamepad in this price point. And moving right on to the V for verdict, if you're not playing a die-hard competitive game, such as a fighting game or a first-person shooter, where milliseconds of input lag will get you killed or make you lose a race or a fight. If you're casually gaming, you're using this controller as intended for the Amazon Luna streaming platform, cloud gaming platform, this is a joy to have in hand. And since this is the gamepad that you're going to be using with the Luna streaming platform, to my knowledge, you can use other Bluetooth gamepads as well, but this is kind of like the primary bread and butter you're supposed to be using. It's a great experience.
I found this on the web.
You didn't find nothing on the web. Good lordy. And moving past the Luna cloud streaming platform, if you're looking for a second controller for PC play and you don't care about milliseconds of input lag or delay, this is a good option for you. This is linked in the description below, and I'll see you Stallions and Stallionettes tomorrow. Peace. If you enjoyed the video, liking it helps it to get seen by more gamers. This information will reach and assist them as well, which in turn helps me grow this little channel, which I do greatly appreciate. Subscribe for more content like this. I cover news in the gaming community and industry, tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing, as well as honest gaming product reviews, keyboards, mice, headsets, controllers, mics, chairs, etc. There are some hefty exclusive discount codes found only in the description of my videos and only for the audience here at Gamer Heaven. I have links to all my other platforms and socials in the description below. To get in touch with myself and the Stallions and Stallionettes of Gamer Heaven, join the community Discord, and check me out at twitch.tv where I go live every other leap year on a blue moon if it falls into an odd calendar number, and my pH balance is on point. Just kidding, starting June I'm going to be live streaming a lot. Thanks for watching. This has been AK40 Kevin hosting Gamer Heaven, and I'll see you tomorrow because I upload daily, all the time, 60% of the time, sometimes, most of the time. Peace.